Hey, welcome back to the series. So we are going to see how to set up a logging service in Node.js REST API in this episode. So far, whenever we want to log, we are logging with Node.js native console log statement. So instead of that, we need to set up a separate logging service in Node.js REST API so that if you want to use any other external library, you can use it in one file instead of importing that file in every file in the project. And also logging is very important in your Node.js REST API. Not only Node.js REST API in any application, so that you can easily debug your application when it is in production. And also you can actually see by looking at the logger statements, you can actually understand the whole flow of the application as well. Let's get into implementation. We have some console log statements here in index.js, and let's look at other files. So we don't have anything in repository, and let's go to config.js, dbconfig.js. We have some statements here. So if you observe, if you want to follow some pattern to your logger statements, or if you want to add any date, or if you want to prepend some kind of information before you log any statement, it is very difficult for you to go to all these places and change. So that's why you need to maintain a common logging service, so that if you want to change the pattern later, all you need to go there and open this file and change the pattern here. In that way, the pattern will change for all the logger statements from your application. So that's why we need to define a common logger service. So I'm going to name this as API logger. Since we are building Node.js REST API, I'm going to name this as API logger. You can name it anything, and also there are levels to your logger statements. Usually the info statements are very less, and debug statements are quite verbose, because whenever you get an issue in production, you need to turn this on, debug statements, so that when you look at the file, you will see all the debug statements. When the level is off, when this level debug is off, you don't see whatever the statements that is logged with the debug level. You won't see those when that level is off. So that's why you need to maintain separate levels, so that you don't put a lot of information in every day in your logger files. And also there is another level called error. Whenever there is an error happens in our application, you need to log with error method. So right now we are not using any library. These are just methods that we are defining, and in these methods we are using console.log. We are not using any external library here as of now. So let's export this class. Now let's import this. Let's import API logger here. Now all we need to do is replace console log with logger.info. So this is very important. You can use any other function, logger.error or logger.debug. Here whether the database is connected or not, this information is necessary when you look at the logs. So that's why we are actually logging with .info. And also there is another statement at line number 32. Let's replace that as well with the logger info. Now if you look at the if you look at the statements, logger statements right now, you can notice the pattern. So if you notice the logger statements connected to database, you can notice the pattern. That statement is prepended with API column. Now let's go to other routes and replace console log statements with the logger.info. Let's import API logger here. Replace with it. Yeah, we have some in task history as well. Let's import it. Let's import in to-dos as well. So we're going to import everywhere and just replace with API logger. So if you notice at line number 13, we are logging with debug because we are sending the body, which is not necessary all the time, and also it makes your loggers file bigger and bigger when you are outputting that one. So that's why we are just debugging with debug. Sorry, we are logging with debug. Finally, let's import this in index.js file as well. Let's change the line number 31. Now if you notice, every time NodeMon watch the file, every time we hit the save button, you can see API is prepended with Express server listening on port 4000. So now everything is replaced. So right now, if you want to change any pattern, it is very easy for you to go to this file and change the pattern. And that pattern will be reflected everywhere and everywhere in our logger statements as well. So it is that easy. Let's hit the post call and let's see. Now we are hitting the post call, and let's go to logger statement. Why we are not able to see the data? Because we need to stringify that particular object. Otherwise you will see object, you don't see the whole data. Let's make the call again. Yeah, as you can see, request body details, you can see the whole object is stringified. So basically stringify that function, what that function does is it actually convert your whole JavaScript object into string. That is how you set up a common logger service for your Node.js REST API. So in the future episodes, we are going to see multiple libraries. There are so many external libraries that you can use in that common file. for the logger, for the logging. So we can see some of those in the next episodes. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.